Superman number 24, written by Mike Johnson, art by Eddie Barrows. This is the conclusion to the pulse-pounding event of Psy-War. So what happened last issue? Superman got drained by Psycho Pirate, and then Lois Lane, with her own psychic powers, showed up and challenged him to a fight. And that's exactly where we pick up here. This is all narrated through Lois, basically explaining everything that happened as she's fighting against Psycho Pirate. And he's like, okay, yeah, you got some power to you, but you're also brand new to your powers, and even if you can manage to figure out, like, the basics, like, she fires off, as Psycho Pirate calls it, a brain bolt, and he's like, that's neat, good job, that's very advanced, but I can just catch that and turn it around back on you. So immediately, he's got the upper hand all over Lois, and he says, like, yes, I'm going to go out now, and I'm going to liberate Metropolis from its societal constructs. We're all going back to animal impulses. However people want to feel, that's how they're going to feel. Peace. And he flies off. So Lois then goes over to Superman. She realizes, like, oh, he's not completely gone. There's an ember left in his mind. I can feel it. And so she gives a little bit of a charge to him. And he wakes up and just be like, oh, Lois, hey, what's going on? And she's like, yeah, okay, he's off taking out the city. We got to do something. And he's like, but how? Psycho Pirate's so strong. And then all of a sudden, Hector Hammond shows up out of the rubble of the building and says, hey, I'm still alive and I still have some powers. And Superman's ready to fight, but he's like, no. Psycho Pirate sucks. I suggest a truce. Me and you, we will fight against him and stop the city from going crazy. Also, Lois Lane's got some power. We might need to use her as well. And then, also in the rubble, despite being blown up into a million bits, comes the Hive Queen. Except she doesn't look like a blonde woman anymore. She looks like a grotesque alien monster thing with huge fangs and jaws. And it turns out this is actually her true form. She just uses her psychic whatevers to make everyone think that she looks like a blonde woman. So, at that point, they agree, yeah, okay, I guess I'm in on the truce. We'll go ahead and do whatever, just because we need to protect Metropolis, if only so that we can rule it later on. So everyone's out fighting on the street. Everyone's going crazy. Psycho Pirate's monologuing, saying, yeah, I freed them all from the mental prisons. I am savior of the city. And then Superman shows up, tackles him. Psycho Pirate's like, dude, again, I have mental powers. You can't just punch me out. This is like the easiest thing. And so he says, but if you're intent on fighting someone, I will sick the whole city against you. And he starts commanding the city to attack Superman, but they don't move. And it turns out that Lois is using basically all of her power to blockade Psycho Pirate's commands. They're all just standing still so they can't hurt each other anymore. So Psycho Pirate launches an attack on Superman. It looks like he deflects it with his hand, and he's like, wait a minute, you don't got psychic powers, what are you doing? And then we get the reveal of Hector Hammond. He's hanging around, doing whatever. It essentially just boils down into a big psychic fight, and Hector's like, oh my, he's so strong, I don't know if we can take him. And this is the only point out of this entire event where Psycho Pirate's like, yeah, I'm so strong, I'm also over in the Superboy book right now, using a psychic projection to do things to him. Go read Superboy. So, at that point, they make the conclusion that they need to pull off Psycho Pirate's mask. It's the thing that's causing all this. So Superman, while he's distracted, comes in, rips the Medusa mask off him, and stares into it. And he sees, like, his parents calling out to him, and he's like, oh, put me on, and all this can be yours. And he goes to put on the mask, and then Lois calls out, saying, no, don't listen to it. Clark, you need to listen to me. So Superman rips off the mask, it shatters in his hand, and then for some reason Lois just is about to die. She's expended too much psychic energy. So Superman comes over and comforts her and just being like, oh, I'm so weak, my power's fading. Also, hey, you're Clark. am I like the worst investigative reporter ever? And he's like, no, no, I did a really good job of hiding it. That's not on you. And she's like, cool. Anyway, bye. And she's like, no, you've always been my best friend. And it seems that Lois dies. But she doesn't, because on the next page it says she just slipped back into her coma, her psychic powers are gone, and John Carroll is there saying, hey, thanks for bringing my girlfriend in. Where did she come from? And he's like, I don't know. She was just stumbling out in the street when everybody went crazy. Beats me. Anyway, I'm going to leave now. So he flies off saying, like, oh yeah, I can't believe it. That's now not only Psycho Pirate knows my secret identity, but so does Lois. And we'll see if she remembers that when she comes to. But I don't know. We'll see what happens next. And then immediately he is yanked out of the atmosphere by this incredible force that he's unable to fight against. And we see continues in Superman Krypton Returns, because we can't go one goddamn issue without being part of a crossover event. Ugh. So yeah, Krypton Returns. It's just one issue across all the super books, and it's just wrapping up storylines that were started, quote unquote, in Hell on Earth. So great on that. Honestly, I've been saying it this whole time. Cywar is such a stupid excuse for an event. I honestly, because like he even mentioned the fact of like, oh, but Brainiac still might be on the way, and it's like, why wasn't that? This isn't an event. This is nothing. This is absolute. This is just a storyline that you didn't want to keep in one book, and I don't understand that. I mean, it's like a 5.5, 5.5. It's not good by any means, but like I'm more pissed off with the fact that they decided to call it like a crossover event than I am pissed off with the event itself. It's a perfectly fine storyline. It's fine to have, oh, there's a bunch of psychic people who are going to take over Metropolis. Fine, good, do that. But don't give it its own thing, man. So yeah, it's a lot of build up for not a lot of payoff, but I will still give it like a 5.5. It's just poor in general, and I don't suggest it.